Tom was an 8-year-old boy who loved to grow plants. One day, his grandfather gave him a small seed and said, "This is a special seed. If you take care of it, it will grow into a beautiful tree." Tom was very excited. He ran to the garden, dug a small hole, and carefully placed the seed inside. He covered it with soil and watered it. Every morning he checked the soil and gave it water. After 3 days, Tom became impatient. He wanted to see the tree grow quickly. He thought, maybe if I give it more water, it will grow faster. So he poured extra water on the soil. The next day, he dug up the seed to check if it had started growing. But it looked the same. Tom felt disappointed. He ran to his grandfather and said, "Grandpa, the seed is not growing. I water it every day, but nothing happens." His grandfather smiled and said, "Be patient, Tom. Trees do not grow in one day. They need time, sunlight, and care. Keep watering it, but do not rush it. If you are patient, you will see something amazing." Tom listened to his grandfather's words. He decided to wait and take care of the seed properly. Days passed, and Tom continued to take care of his seed. He watered it every morning and made sure it got enough sunlight. But still, nothing happened. One day, Tom felt frustrated. He thought, maybe my seed is broken. Maybe it will never grow. He was about to give up when his grandfather came to see him. "Why do you look so sad, Tom?" his grandfather asked. "Grandpa, it has been so many days, but my seed is not growing." "I don't think it will ever become a tree," Tom replied. His grandfather chuckled and said, "Come with me. I want to show you something." He took Tom to the big oak tree in their backyard. "Do you see this tree? It was once a small seed, just like yours. But it took years to grow this big. Every living thing grows at its own pace. You must have patience and trust the process." Tom thought about his grandfather's words. He realized that he had been too impatient. So he decided to keep taking care of his seed without rushing it. One morning, a few weeks later, Tom ran to check on his plant as usual. This time, he saw something different. A tiny green sprout was pushing through the soil. Tom's eyes lit up with excitement. He ran inside and shouted, "Grandpa, Grandpa, my seed is growing!" His grandfather smiled and said, "See, Tom, patience always brings good results." From that day on, Tom learned an important lesson. Good things take time, and patience is the key to success. As months passed, Tom's little tree grew taller and stronger. Every day he watered it, removed weeds, and protected it from insects. He felt happy watching it grow. One summer afternoon, a strong wind blew through the garden. Dark clouds filled the sky, and soon a heavy storm arrived. Tom ran to the window and saw his young tree bending under the strong wind. He became worried. "Grandpa, what if the storm breaks my tree?" he cried. His grandfather patted his shoulder and said, "Let's wait and see, Tom. Trees must face storms to grow stronger." The storm lasted all night. The next morning, Tom rushed outside. To his surprise, his tree was still standing. Some leaves had fallen, but the trunk was firm and strong. His grandfather smiled and said, "See, Tom? The tree did not give up. Just like this tree, you must be strong in difficult times. If you are patient and do not lose hope, you will grow stronger too." Tom looked at his tree with pride. He realized that patience was not just about waiting, it was about staying strong and believing in the process. From that day on, Tom faced challenges with a new mindset. Whether it was learning something difficult at school or waiting for good things to happen, he remembered his tree and his grandfather's words. Be patient, and you will grow strong. Years passed, and Tom's little tree grew into a tall, strong tree. Its branches spread wide, giving shade to the garden. Birds built nests in it, and its leaves rustled softly in the wind. Tom felt proud whenever he looked at it. One day, his school announced a science competition. The students had to grow a plant and explain how they took care of it. Tom was excited. He thought, I already know how to take care of plants. I can win this competition. Tom planted a new seed in a small pot and followed everything he had learned, watering it properly, giving it sunlight, and waiting patiently. But after a few weeks, he noticed something strange. Some of his classmates' plants had grown taller than his. He felt frustrated. Why is my plant growing so slowly? I did everything right, he said to his grandfather. His grandfather smiled and asked, What kind of plant did you choose, Tom? Tom checked the seed packet. It's an oak tree, he said. His grandfather nodded. Oak trees grow slowly, but they live for hundreds of years. Some plants grow fast but don't last long. Patience, Tom. The strongest things take time. Tom understood. Instead of feeling discouraged, he explained this lesson in his science presentation. The judges were impressed by his knowledge and patience. Even though his plant was small, he won a special award for his explanation. When he returned home, Tom looked at his big tree and smiled. He realized that just like trees, people grow at different speeds. With patience and care, anything can become great. One afternoon, Tom was playing in the garden when he saw his little sister, Lily, sitting near a flower pot with a sad face. She had planted a flower seed a few days ago, but nothing had grown yet. Tom, I think my flower will never grow, Lily said with a frown. Tom smiled and sat beside her. I used to feel the same way when I planted my tree, he said. But remember what Grandpa taught me? Plants need time, sunlight, water, and care. You just have to be patient. Lily sighed. But waiting is so hard. Tom thought for a moment and said, How about this? Every day we will check on your plant together. We can talk to it, take care of it, and watch for any small changes. Lily agreed. Every morning she and Tom checked the soil, watered the seed, and even talked to it. Grow well, little flower, Lily would say with a giggle. One morning after 2 weeks, Lily ran to Tom, her face glowing with excitement. Tom, look, a tiny green sprout. Tom smiled proudly. See, I told you, patience always brings good things. Lily hugged him. Thank you, Tom. Now I know that waiting can be exciting too. Their grandfather, who had been watching, nodded with a smile. Tom, you have not only learned patience, but also taught it to someone else. That is the best lesson of all. Tom looked at his tree, Lily's little sprout, and his grandfather. He felt happy knowing that patience was a gift he could share. One day at school, Tom and his classmates were given a big project. They had to create a model of their town using cardboard, paper, and paint. The teacher divided them into teams, and Tom was excited to work with his best friend, Jake. At first, everything seemed fun. They planned their town model, drew designs, and started building. But soon, Jake became impatient. "This is taking too long," he complained. "Let's just finish it quickly." Jake started rushing through the work. He glued buildings without measuring, painted roads carelessly, and didn't let things dry properly. Tom tried to tell him, "We need to be patient, or it won't look good." But Jake didn't listen. When the project was done, their model didn't look as neat as the others. Some buildings were crooked and the paint was messy. Jake looked at the other team's models and frowned. "Ours doesn't look as good. I guess we should have taken our time." Tom smiled and said, "It's okay, Jake. We learned something important. Good things take time and effort. Next time we'll be more patient." Their teacher noticed their effort and gave them advice. "Great work, boys. Remember, patience and teamwork lead to the best results. Even mistakes teach us valuable lessons." After that day, Jake and Tom decided to take their time with everything they did. Whether it was schoolwork, hobbies, or even playing games, they remembered that rushing things only led to mistakes, but patience led to success. Years passed, and Tom grew into a wise and patient young man. His tree, once a tiny seed, had now become the tallest tree in the garden, its branches strong and full of life. One day, Tom's grandfather called him to sit under the tree. "Tom, do you remember the day you planted this tree?" he asked. Tom smiled. "Of course, Grandpa. I was impatient at first, but you taught me that good things take time." His grandfather nodded. "And now, look at your tree. It stands tall because you cared for it patiently. Life is just like this tree, Tom. Success, friendships, and dreams all take time to grow. If you rush, you might miss the best parts." Tom thought about everything he had learned, waiting for his seed to grow, helping Lily with her flower, learning patience with his school project, and even teaching his friend Jake the value of time. He looked at his tree and realized that patience had made him not only a better gardener, but also a better person. His grandfather patted his shoulder. "Remember, Tom, patience is not about waiting. It's about trusting the process and enjoying the journey." Tom smiled. He finally understood that patience was the key to success, happiness, and growth. As he sat under the shade of his beautiful tree, he whispered, "Thank you, Grandpa. Thank you, tree. I will always remember this lesson." And from that day on, Tom lived his life with patience, knowing that everything great begins with a small seed of effort and grows with time. Moral of the story: patience is the key to success. Good things take time, and if we care for them with love, effort, and patience, they will grow into something wonderful.